So, let's talk about Boeing. 2025 was a huge year for them, a real story of recovery. And it's a story we can tell with some pretty staggering numbers and some seriously bold corporate moves.
All right, let's just jump right in with the big one. $89.5 billion. That's their total revenue for the year. I mean, you have to go all the way back to 2018 to see a number like that from them.
But revenue is one thing. This is what really tells the story. Look at this swing in cash flow. In the last part of 2024, they were burning through cash, over $4 billion gone. A year later, they're actually making cash. It's not a huge amount, but that shift from red to black, from burning to earning, well, that's everything. It's the core of this whole turnaround.
So let's really dig in and visualize this thing. To get the full picture of just how massive this recovery was in 2025, you've got to see it side by side with where they were before. Okay, first up, total sales. We're talking about a jump of more than $20 billion in 1 year. That is a huge expansion, and it really comes down to one thing: getting more planes out the door and into the hands of their customers.
But look, selling more is great, but are you actually making money on those sales? That's the real question, right? And this chart answers it. They went from a huge loss, a nearly 25% negative margin, to a seriously healthy positive one. This shows it wasn't just about pushing planes out the door, they were actually getting their house in order and making their operations more efficient. And of course, for anyone with money in the game, this is the bottom line. You go from losing almost $6 a share to earning nearly 10. That is an incredible reversal. This is exactly the kind of thing that starts to rebuild trust and confidence on Wall Street.
So you see these numbers, and you have to ask, how did they pull this off? Where did this incredible comeback come from? Well, fittingly enough, the main engine behind this whole thing was their commercial airplanes division.
And when you look at the future, wow, the scale of the business they have lined up is just staggering. We're talking about a record-setting order backlog worth over $500 billion. Let that sink in. This isn't just about having a good year. This is a guaranteed pipeline of work and revenue for years and years to come.
So what does $500 billion in orders actually look like? Well, it's over 6,000 airplanes waiting to be built. It means if you want one of their popular jets, like a 737 or 787, you're waiting until well into the next decade. For the company, that's an unbelievable foundation. It's years of guaranteed work for their factories. Now, having a massive order book is one thing, but it's worthless if you can't actually build the planes, right? And that's why this little detail is so incredibly important. They ramped up their 737 production to 42 planes a month. That's a huge signal that they're finally getting their factory stabilized and can start chipping away at that enormous backlog.
Okay, so this turnaround wasn't just about cranking out more planes. There was some major corporate strategy going on behind the scenes. 2 really big moves that fundamentally reshaped the whole company.
Here's the playbook, right? Step 1, buy Spirit Aerosystems. This was all about getting control, bringing a key supplier in-house to finally get a handle on quality and production stability. Step 2, sell off their digital aviation unit. This was about cashing out and simplifying things, sharpening their focus. 2 very different moves, but both aimed at the same goal: creating a stronger, more stable Boeing.
And that sale? It wasn't for pocket change. We're talking a massive $9.6 billion pre-tax gain. That gives their balance sheet a huge shot in the arm. But just as important, it sent a clear message. We're focusing on our core business, which is building airplanes.
This move to buy Spirit is a classic business school strategy. It's called vertical integration. Basically, it means you stop relying on other companies for critical parts and just buy them, taking direct ownership of your supply chain. For Boeing, after all the headaches with production and quality that were traced back to suppliers, this was a no-brainer. It was about taking back control right at the source.
All right, but commercial jets are only half the picture, right? Boeing is also a massive defense contractor. So let's shift gears and look at that side of the business and see what the future might hold.
So the defense side, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but definitely improving. I mean, look at this. Revenue is up, and their backlog hit a new record. They're landing major contracts for things like tankers and Apache helicopters. But, and there's a but, they're still getting burned by some of these old fixed-price contracts, like the KC-46A tanker. They took another big charge on that one. So the new business looks great, but some of these legacy programs are still a bit of a drag on the bottom line.
And I think the CEO, Kelly Ortberg, really summed it up perfectly here.
We haven't fully turned the corner, but we're making real progress. That captures the mood, doesn't it? It's not a mission accomplished speech. It's this sense of realistic optimism. We're on the right path, but we know there's still work to do.
So, that's where we leave it, and it brings us to the big question, doesn't it? After this incredible year, has Boeing truly stabilized for the long haul? Have they charted a course for a smooth climb, or is there still some turbulence ahead? I mean, the foundation looks solid now, for sure, but the real test is going to be consistency. Can they build on this, quarter after quarter, year after year?